some Khorne Berzerkers. Hey, welcome in, welcome in. I'm just going to be using my Geraldez Infinity CR Plus, and it's got the smallest needle. I'm just going to be base coating this model with this purple. I'll mainly be spraying it nadir, so from the bottom and into the shadows, but I will also just be painting it generally over the top, and that will give the red paint something nice to sit on top of. Okay, I'm just going to be painting this Khorne red. I'll be spraying it from a zenithal perspective and making sure to leave all the purple in the shadows. Having red as the main colour and the purple in the shadows creates a really nice contrast and really makes the model look cool. As you can see, just giving it a little demonstration so you can see that I'm making sure that the shadows are left without red in. And yeah, they just really complement each other really well. Okay, I'm just going to be using this Mephiston red. I'll be spraying this over the previous layer. Again, I'll be spraying it from above and not getting it into the shadows, but I'll also be trying not to cover up the previous red. And yeah, just gradually building up the highlights on him. Okay, just so you can see what it looks like again, just building up the red layers and being able to see the purple still in the shadows. And yeah, the contrast is really nice and looking really cool. Okay, I'll just be using this Vallejo white primer. I'm going to be spraying this from the top right of him and just picking out places where I think light would be hitting the model the most. But yeah, just take your time with this one, try your best not to cover up your previous layers. Okay, just so you can see where I've placed his light source. And yeah, we'll be adding a filter over this and it will really bring all the colours together. Okay, I'm going to be using this Bowel Red as the filter. The really cool thing about the Bowel Red is when you spray it over white, initially you get a really nice neon pink. But yeah, just build up the layers gradually and it will become a nice red. Again, try and mainly aim for the white parts, but do let it bleed over into the other layers slightly, and that will just help blend all of the colours together nicely. And yeah, definitely do not spray into the shadows. Just leave the nice purple in the shadows for it to contrast against. Cool, and here he is with all his different layers. And yeah, shadows are left nice. Don't be tempted to cover up the shadows. The contrast is what makes the model look cool. pretty cool angle to see him. You can just see the shadows coming through nicely, and there's red over the top. I'm just going to be using a small layer brush with the Balthasar gold, and I'll just be going over all the trim with it. He's got quite a lot of trim, so just take your time and enjoy the process. If you're like me and you're painting this one out of the combat patrol, we've got 20 of these guys to do. So yeah, just try and enjoy it best you can. Make sure you take some breaks, don't burn yourself out on it. Usually when I do a big batch paint like this, I'll try and do them in groups of 2 or groups of 5, and that just helps break it up a bit. But yeah, don't let the thought of 20 of these models to do daunt you. Just take your time and enjoy yourself. When you get to some of the detailed parts like this, I find it's best if you try and keep the brush flat, and you guarantee yourself not to hit the red armor panels. With it being a red model though, I feel even if you make a metallic mistake on it, it's not too bad to cover up. And just go back to one of the previous colours, dab it on gently, wait for it to dry, and you should see that it just disappears and doesn't leave a mark or anything. But yeah, I'm not sure why red, for me anyway, seems to be easier to hide mistakes. And there he is with his trim, the armour done. It's looking really cool already. But yeah, as you can see, I've left all of the purple in the shadows, and yeah, the contrast is making it pop nicely. I'll just be using this lead belcher to go over all the silver pieces. Yeah, so we've got his chain axe, his gun, and some metal chains. So yeah, again, just when you're doing these steps, just try your best not to rush. And yeah, just take your time and enjoy yourself. So yeah, just check the model over, make sure you got everything. And just be using this black legion to go over all the black parts. So we've got a few pipes and things on his backpack. His gloves. And his axe handle. Again, just take your time, be patient, try your best not to get it onto the armour. Yeah, just check the model over, make sure you get everything. It doesn't matter too much if you missed a bit, it's not a problem just to go back and add it in later. But yeah, it's just nice to try and get everything whilst you're doing it. You could do this black step before you do the silver. Just on some of the models, the tabards have got the chains on top, so it could be easier to do it the other way around. But it worked out okay for me just to do the silver and then the black. I'm just going to be using this ivory to go over all the skulls. And I'll just be using this to go over some of the parts on his weapons. So mainly just the Khorne symbols. And yeah, I could have done this whilst I'd done the trim, but I thought it might be better off to do it after I'd done the silver, but when thinking about it, I could have just done this and then just been a bit more careful when adding the silver. I'm just going to be going over all of the trim with this. Sometimes adding the metallics can make the surface look a bit flat. So yeah, it's nice to put a contrast or a shade over it, and just helps fill in the recesses and add the depth back in. But yeah, take your time with this step, try your best not to get it onto the armour. And yeah, I know you've got quite a few models to do, but yeah, just take your time and enjoy it. And just be adding this new oil to all the silver pieces. give them a double check and make sure you're happy. I'll just be putting a skeleton horde over the skulls. And again, just adding some depth back into it. And yeah, I'm just making them look cool and a bit more realistic. And I'll just be going over all of the trim with this. Again, just trying to catch the edges and the most raised and textured parts, and yeah, just really help it pop, add the contrast, and yeah, get the shine back into it. Just like I said before, sometimes putting the contrast or a shade over the metallics can dull it a bit. So yeah, this is just nice to bring it all back out again. And like always, just take your time with it and just enjoy the process. Yeah, just give the model a check over and make sure you're happy. Now I'm just going to be using this silver to go over all of the silver parts. Yeah, and just hitting mostly the raised areas and just adding some scratches and texture back into it. But yeah, you can see how doing this step really makes the metallics pop again. When doing the chains, just try and be careful not to cover up the previous layers, and yeah, just really catch the edges, and yeah, just make them really stand out. And it's going to be using these colours for his skin. A few of these models have their arms exposed, so yeah, just got to do a tiny bit of skin on some of them. We're just starting with the darkest colour and working our way up. Yeah, try not to get it into the recesses and shadows. And yeah, don't have to put too much time into this. But yeah, just make it look as best you can. I'm just going to be putting this Carver Crimson over it, and this will just help make it look a lot less smooth and just, yeah, sore and just, yeah, more rugged looking. So yeah, they've got like wires growing through their skin and stuff, so yeah, it would be quite irritated. And yeah, they're just out in battle and outside and that, so yeah, they would be quite weathered. Just going to be using these colours for his eyes, and using my 00 Winsor Newton Series 7. Yeah, starting from the darkest colour and working our way up, Yeah, just take your time with it. Don't worry too much about going wrong, you can always just start again, and if you go outside of the eye, you can just touch up the surrounding areas with the previous metallics. And just add in the final dot in, just to really get them to glow. Looking cool. And just be going over the skulls again with this. Just be hitting the most raised areas and yeah, just adding some texture back in, just to make them look a bit more interesting. Just adding some PVA glue to the base now. And just put some on there and give it a smooth around. I'm just going to be using this brown basing material. It's a nice neutral colour. It will look cool with the model, but also won't take too much attention away from it. And we're just going to be using this black legion to go around the base. Yeah, this is a really nice step to do. It helps frame the model and yeah, just get it to stick out and look really cool. Just going to be using this blood for the blood god. We'll be sticking it on his chain axe. But yeah, I think this is a really cool effect. And yeah, definitely suits the Berzerkers and, well, any Khorne model to be fair.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.